can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Welcome into Launch Date, everybody. I'm Devon O'Day.
Teri Pugh. How are you?
Sister, we got something so special. I'm good, and we have survived the fireworks apocalypse. I
don't even get me started.
I mean, yeah, pit bulls may be badass in a lot of people's thoughts, but my two were up in my lap shaking like leaves. They were not ready to do anything to anything. They just wanted to just like get my mama and let me get close to her.
Yeah. It was, it went on here. And of course, I'm close to downtown, about 4 miles from downtown. It went on here. I heard the grand finale, I think around 10:30 downtown. But my people in my neighborhood and surrounding areas didn't get that email memo. So they decided to just act a fool until about 11:30.
That happens. Well, I hope everybody had a safe 4th. We've got a special guest today. Would you like to do the honors of introducing Brandon to everybody?
I would love to. I have known Brandon for maybe 10 years, and there he is. And I will let Brandon share if he chooses to share how we know each other and everything. But Brandon is just such an inspiration and a blessing. And my life is better because he's in it, and that's just the yumminess of it right there. How are you, Brandon?
Hi, how you doing, Miss Teri? I'm Brandon Pearson. As we were saying earlier, you have been a big blessing on my life, and I truly, really appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you as well. The class that we met off the class with me being in prison, and I was at a point in my life to where I was confused. I know most definitely that I was confused. Probably with not the understanding that I ended up getting and being able to grasp until I took your class. I took your class really in the beginning to get out the cell, to get out the unit, but not knowing the amazing blessing that the class the amazing blessing that the class that you were teaching and the impact that it would have on me or whatnot. And I'm grateful for your class. I'm grateful to have met you and still for us to be in each other's lives. It's truly a blessing, Miss Cherry. And I'm thankful for you. Very thankful for you.
Well, I'm thankful for you, and I love the fact that you're so transparent. Like, I just took that class to get out of myself for a while, and who knew, getting out of yourself for a while, you were going to choose to change your life, to make some major pivots, and to start looking at how you looked at things. And that's what Devon and that's the topic today is. How do we? I didn't write it as eloquently as Devon did. You want to take it, Devon, and kind of give the little layout of it?
Well, the whole thing is shifting our thinking to put our time and attention into choosing the change in our life. And we can choose to change our lives at any time. And there's, and everybody, I know so many people who watch this show each and every week. They've been through, I always said, they've been through hell and they've just kept walking. That's why they've gotten where they are. They didn't stop and say, well, this is where I'm going to just put myself, and you can plant yourself in hell, but,
you can
you can plant yourself and you'll grow there if you want to, but you can set down your roots in the next place that you've been wanting to go to. But it's what you keep your sights on. That's where you go. And you really made some huge changes in your life because now, where have you planted yourself? I just want to start right there. Because we know where you started because you told us that, but now where are you sitting?
As you just said, you said something that was really, really deep. When you say you can either plant yourself in hell or allow yourself to get out of hell. I was once planted in hell, kind of before I went to a prison. But I no longer want to be planted in hell no more. I had wanted to change my way of thinking in the way I do things. I knew as a person and as a man that I didn't have to be planted in hell. I knew being planted in hell was only a choice, and given the choices that I can make to get myself out of hell, uh, I was coming up with a plan to remove myself from that situation. So I started off as far as taking the classes that Miss Terry had offered, and I'm very grateful as well. Thank you again, Miss Terry. And and so I took the initiative to take the class or whatnot to try to figure out who I was as a person and who I am as a person. And I knew it was a correct way to live the life that I'm living now. My mother would tell me the easiest thing that there is to do is stay out of trouble. I didn't understand that before I went to prison. It took for me to go to prison, go through classes to understand the meaning of what she was saying. So I took the initiative to pre-plan to come up with a plan, some adjustments that I know knew that I had needed to make within myself, and and it was all and that was my frame of thinking.
Exactly.
Once I took the initiative to change my way of thinking, and I used to tell people this that don't nobody owe nobody nothing or whatnot. You got to whatever you want in life, you got to go out and get it yourself, and take the initiative to get it for yourself or whatnot. Uh, so I did that. I done that, and I pre-planned it. I came up with a plan that I knew I had to come up with in order to be successful and not go back to prison. Once people don't realize once you get to begin to take them classes and you get to reading the books that were issued out to you or whatnot, and you get to surround yourself with the people that's on what you on. I got this saying: show me your friends, and I show you your future. Well,
Hmm. That's a great
the
saying,
most
Brandon.
important the most important thing about that class was the people that was in that class, they was on change themselves, right? They was on the same mission that I was on.
Yep.
So I knew I had to surround myself from being a former gang member. I knew I had to surround myself uh, with the people that I was in the classes with. Just only a few though. Only only a few that I had needed to surround myself with, and I surrounded myself with the few that I did to also get on a better understanding of the class and as myself as a person. And I know that sounds kind of strange or whatnot, but when
Mm-mm.
you used to being around when you used to being around the things that the negativity that goes on in prison, the walk that you have to take in prison as
Mhm.
far as being a gang member, me being a former gang member and the negativity that goes on in there,
Wow.
that class allowed me to surround myself with positive people, right? So I had came up with a plan to as I was saying, not to go back to prison and to stay out of prison, not just to get out of prison, but to stay out of prison. So
Yeah.
when I was in there, I I became a religious individual. I started putting God first. I started putting God first. Uh, I knew God was the only one that could change my heart in the beginning of me making the progression that I was going to make, in the process of me making progression that I was about to make. So once God opened up my allowed once I allowed God to open up my heart and come into my life or whatnot, I knew then that I had a purpose. So me saying that is that I know as what we were just saying, the choices that we have, and the decisions that we make solely depend on your heart or whatnot.
Mhm.
And once you place God in your heart, a lot of things that you was once doing, you try not to allow yourself to continue to do it.
Hmm.
So So I came up with a plan. I said, listen, when I get out of prison, the day comes, right before the day comes before me getting out of prison. Actually, it was like 8 or 9 months before I was getting ready to come home. I think I had like an epiphany, but I had seen my celly come in there with a. He came in there with a CDL book, and you know this is how God works. My thing was when I got out, I was gonna go to culinary art school or whatnot. But then when my celly came in, he just threw the book on the table, and me knowing the person I am, see, and this is go back knowing who you are as a person. You really
Mhm.
got to know yourself. You really got to be in tune and touch with yourself. Uh, in order to be able to succeed, you really got to be in touch with yourself. So I knew once I had gotten in touch with myself and tapped in into myself that I said culinary art is a great opportunity. It would be a great opportunity. I love to cook. I love barbecuing. I just love doing different things with food. But when I seen the CDL book, I also knew that in the beginning of my incarceration and before my incarceration, that I knew I had a problem with authority. So I said, me getting my let me I asked my seller. I said, can I, if you don't mind, can I see that book? And he said, you can have the book. So I took the book. I looked over the book in the, in my cell. And the crazy thing about it, I came up with my trucking company name in prison. Uh, yeah, I came up with my trucking company
That's
name in prison. It's
amazing.
crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I did. I
Well,
did.
the
And
apostle Paul came up with some really good things in prison too, I might add. The apostle Paul, all of our great that happened in prison too, oh by the way.
yeah,
So
yes, ma'am. Uh, prison can either become a place you learn from or whatnot, and it can be the worst thing that ever happened to you, or it can be the best thing that happened to you. Uh, the best thing for me was to be able to have the time that I had to come up with a plan or whatnot, and to stick to the plan that I knew that I had to come up, the plan that I knew I was coming up with, and utilize all my resources that I could tap into while I was in prison. So I had I had before I had came home, actually the day before I had came home, I had asked God to let me leave everything that the people that I may have hurted, the people that may have hurted me, uh, everything, anybody that I had paid grudges with, conflict with. I knew the day that I stepped out of prison was the day that I wanted to leave everything behind that was negative, that could have hindered me from becoming the person that I am now. Uh, when I had walked out them doors, I was at Riverbend. Miss Terry, you that's where your classes was at.
Mhm.
Thank you again, Miss Terry. Thank you so much. And when I had left out of prison, I just left everything behind. And as I said earlier, I knew that no one had owed me nothing. I tell people when I was in prison, before I continue to go on with the story, that not even my mother or my father owed me anything in prison. Not my children, mother, not my kids. Even for them taking out the time to come see me and send me money, they didn't owe that to me. Cause I made the decision and the choice to go to prison. Uh,
Right.
when I was making the decisions that I was making, they was telling me not to do it. So uh, I was grateful to continue to have them in my life, and I knew that if
mm,
me knowing what I know, with them not owing me none, I wasn't going to also allow myself to put them back through that situation again.
Right. And
So
I will
so
say this. I will say this real quick because you and I have talked a lot. You have once being outside the wall, you know, you were doing your CDL. You were living that life, and bought your own big rig, and you
true,
know have your family around you, and I see posts of your lovely daughter and your mama, and I mean my heart just swells because we say this a lot of times. People might be watching this today and going, oh wow, I didn't know, that's awful, he was in prison. But people, don't get it twisted, because we all are in a prison of some sort. Like we
Prison in the mind.
in the mind, exactly. Some of
Right.
us, some folks might be behind a gate or four walls.
Some people
But
might be in a bad marriage.
yeah, a bad
Some,
Some
marriage, a
people.
bad
yeah,
job.
bad
But
job. Yeah.
this is where the
It
mind
begins.
here and the brain
Right.
here, this is where the magic happens. And there's 18
Right.
inches from from our brain to our heart. And that 18 inches is a hard 18 inches to travel. And when we start setting out,
Man.
see, there you go. See, Brandon, there was another one. Boom,
There
just
you
like
go.
that, right?
Right there it is. Ooh wee.
But
Yeah,
We
Lee.
call
My fault.
Brandon. I call those things Terryisms, and we write it.
Terrorism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Terryism. Write it
Yeah.
down. Write it down. We got some people who are joining us right now,
yeah,
and
yeah, Devin, who's there?
Candy is here. Hello, Candy,
Hi,
over
Candy.
west of town, over in Humphreys County. Elizabeth over in the borough. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hey,
I
Liz.
know Elizabeth.
Hey,
She's the
how
one
y'all
that
doing?
always. She's our scribe that always puts down all the Terryisms in our in our feed. Mona, and by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
Mona says, "Love you, ladies. What you're doing to help others." Mona, congratulations! Just became a new Nashville homeowner. So
Yes,
she's
she
also
did.
somebody.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes,
And like she said, people told her it could not be done, but they don't know how big God is. That's
that's right.
right.
Not only do
Corinne.
they not, can I say something? Not
Yeah,
only don't they
yeah.
know how big God is, but they don't know how big your heart is. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Cause I was told the same thing. I was told the same thing coming home from prison that you ain't gonna get your CDLs, and I got my CDLs
That's right.
from my trucking
Yes.
company. So
That's
yeah,
right. That's right.
I just love it. Corinne is here up in upstate New York. Gloria's with us from Florida. Angie.
mm,
Angie, where are you listening from? I forgot. We got to meet in person this weekend, so and I forgot where Angie lives normally every day. And our precious Margie. Okay, where is it? Nope, right over here. There it is. Good
There
afternoon.
she
There
is.
she
Hey,
is, Margie.
Margie.
how y'all doing?
Okay, and Elizabeth put there's 18 inches between the head and the heart, and it can be a long distance to travel. Woohoo!
Mhm.
Yes, 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 yes.
Right, right.
Your story is
That's
so
one of the
inspiring,
longest.
Brandon.
That's one of the longest road to travel. To think about it now.
Well, it
Mm-hmm.
is, and
And
that's the
being that
thing.
short, and being that short.
Yeah.
And think about it. I mean, we have choices. You know, Oftentimes people say, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, can't never could do anything.
And
And
will never
so,
I never
would.
could do it.
right. And
And
so
we'll never do it.
it's more than just saying, I want to change my life. It's understanding that you're not at the mercy of anyone changing your life. You have been ordained with the gift to change your own life. You just have to be willing to do it, because your higher power doesn't put things on your path that are there to be destructions for you. They are, as you just said, Brandon, they're there to be lessons, to be opportunities. We might see them as
Right,
challenges, but I tell clients all the time, challenge by any other name is an opportunity. It just
Amen.
depends
right,
on how you receive it.
right,
And
right,
and when you take when you take a life that you had a life prior to getting out and getting your CDL,
right,
and that
right,
life, choices and consequences ended up with you being incarcerated. And then
right.
you had a choice while you were there to come sit in the class for 4 hours every Saturday. That sounds like loads of fun, doesn't it? But
It
but you
is.
did,
It
you
was. Yeah.
and we formed
Right,
friendships and bonds, and what
right,
you learn
right,
about people, and you see the potential. And so,
right.
you know, I- every time I see a new update and you share something new with
Mhm.
me, I'm never shocked. I
So you
always
never.
know it's yours to have.
Yes, thank you, Miss Terry.
You
Thank
know,
you all.
And now she got me all up in it because I'm watching your social media now too. I'm
yes,
watching
ma'am.
every post now that Brandon makes.
Leaving the most, leaving the oppression, leaving the oppression that I had left it's a blessing, and to continue to go forward and strive for greatness is another blessing. Uh, when you have kids, I got a grandbaby on the way. My oldest daughter is due the 16th of this month.
Wow.
And I have 4 children. I have 3 girls and a son, and when you realize once you realize that and once you realize that when you have children and how they feel about the decisions that you may make, that and it can affect them, that you also put in plan not to hurt them again, as well as not carrying yourself through that same pain. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was all the plan in a way. It ain't no thinking to it. God had already had pretty much planned things out. Even if I wouldn't have went to prison, they would have been there because it was God's will for them to be there. But just being able to come home and set my foot on solid ground, put my foot on solid ground, and and was able to walk and not run, because I knew everything takes time. I'm not saying that, because patience is a virtue. Uh, I felt that just being able to take my time, having the support system that I have, my family, being able to stay in touch with you, Miss Terry, uh, uh, that's a great support system. You see what I'm saying? Us being able to communicate, talk, uh, and it's also a reminder to the point of where that you don't want to allow yourself to go back to the place that you had left from or whatnot. So, and I'm a grateful being. I know God has been merciful on me. Uh, Man, I'm just grateful to be able to be here to talk to y'all,
Yeah.
and like I said, Mr. I'm thankful for you. I'm grateful for you. Uh, Grateful for your class. Uh, what you say? You got to live in the now, right?
That's
You got to live
right.
in the now, right?
That's right. You got to live in the now, and you
The
got to
now,
know, we
the
talked about
now
this. We talked about this. The thoughts and the things that we tell ourselves, they are going to dictate our next step in our
gonna
future.
manifest, right?
And if we're
Right.
telling ourselves we can't do something, or this is too hard, or, people have opportunities at every turn in their life to either keep the same company, like you said, look at your friend, and
Yep.
you either keep the same company, and it doesn't matter if we've been incarcerated or if we're living in our own prison inside our mind. If we're keeping the same company and we're saying we want to be different, but we're not making any moves, if this company that we're keeping is not moving in a direction that supports that for us, and challenges us to be our better self, and then supports us when we're not our best self, because at any given time we're
Man,
just
who
who we
support
are,
us when we're not our best self? Oh, Miss
right?
Terry. Oh, correct.
You
Right,
feel like you're back
right,
in
right.
class now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I am in class. It's uh you learn every day. You can learn sitting, you can learn walking, you can learn, being in the dark moment of your life. Uh, you can learn from being when you were the most joyful moment in your life as well. Uh, and
Hmm.
that's the thing, being able to allow yourself to learn and open yourself up to learn and want to learn. Uh, learning never stops. Learning never stops. It never
Never.
stops. It never
Y'all,
stops.
y'all are dropping these bombs. I gotta tell you, Brandon put a few minutes ago, Brandon had this wisdom. Sometimes you're required to walk, not run. We've always heard it the other way: run, don't walk. run at it.
Right.
But you reverse that, and it's so important. Sometimes we're required to walk, not run, and the
Right.
patience to make the right decision. And man, that
Mhm.
hit me like a ton of bricks. And
Right.
then find those people who will support you when you're not yourself.
Mhm.
Find the people when you're not to support you when you're not yourself.
Ooh,
That's
good
when
stuff.
when you show me your friends, I show you your future.
Yes.
That's the most important
Mhm.
thing in life. That's the most important thing in life. The people that you surround yourself with, and once you know, as Miss Terry will say, live in the now. Uh, you can use it in different ways, but I would take it as for me is to live today and do all you can for yourself today. Make the change that you can make today. Make the progression that you can make today. Make the great decisions and choices that you can make today, right now, and then tomorrow, depending on the energy that you put out, you'll have a great return. Great return the next day. Is living
Mhm.
in the now and redo the things over again. Not saying that days won't be bad, or or you may feel as if you may not be able to go on. I think we all of a lot of us may reach that point in life, but when you living in the now, you placing God above all. Uh, once you get through that day, the now today, and still be able to learn and manifest and be sad, be joyful, and once you lay your head on that pillow and you able to have a chance of getting up again and whatnot, you can continue to you can continue to strive for greatness or whatnot. So that's what it is,
It
That's
is
what
what
it
it is.
is.
It is
Mona
what it
says,
is.
And y'all
"Amen,
listen,
Brandon."
listen. I'm a little nervous too, y'all. I'm a little nervous too. I'm a
Well,
little
you
shy.
can't.
This is
You're
my
just
first
spouting out
time.
wisdom like crazy. I can't even type it
Yeah.
fast enough. Mona says, "Amen, Brandon. You're an inspiration to all."
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Jamie joins us out in Dixon, and she says, "Loving this." I know, and Jamie's had to make some big hard decisions over the last year, and she just walked into it and just keeps on plugging. And we've all
Right.
come through stuff, and the idea, and Brandon's story is inspirational because you just kept saying, "I'm going to get this." I want to find out the name of your trucking company that you came up with in prison.
Uh, I named it after my kids. B, apostrophe S and D. I named it after my four children and my nephew. B's and D, Pearson Transportation. So
Oh,
all four of my children, all my oldest daughter named Brene, Brielle, BJ, which is a junior, and British. Then my nephew name is Demarion. So I just put B, BS, and D, Pearson Transportation.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I did.
I love
Uh,
it.
I did. I did. I did. I
And
did.
I love the fact that
I do.
you came from where you came from and you're going where you're going, and one of those kept you locked in and the other one set you free. You
And
know,
the other one had me locked in. The other one set me free.
that's right. I
Uh,
mean,
you got to. You
you
got to.
travel the highways and the byways, and you don't do that because someone gave that to you. You do that because you chose. Brandon chose to receive a life that was deserving of who you are as a person, not to
Right.
accept
Right.
any less, and to be
Not to say
grateful
any
for
less.
whatever opportunities came your way to learn. You know,
Right.
some
Absolutely.
opportunities come our way, again, regardless of what our experiences are, our situations are, some opportunities, come our way and they knock very softly. And we kind of
Right.
ignore them because it's like, I don't want to do that. It
Right.
would have been
Right.
real easy for opportunity to knock and for you to go, I don't want to go sit for 4 hours in a room and listen to this crazy white woman talk about, I don't know, all kinds of crazy shit. I don't want to do that. But what happened?
right. Right.
But what happened? You chose to go. And
I, I ch- right. Right.
and you chose that. You chose to
Mhm.
I
do
ch-
that. And you chose to come back and come back. And let's get it. the
and let me.
gentlemen that were at Riverbend, you guys didn't get credit. Y'all didn't get any special anything for coming to this
Mm-mm,
class.
mm-mm. No time knocked off. No. The parole board looked at it, but man, Candace, in the beginning to get me out the classes. I love genuine people. I love candid people. I love candid individuals. Uh, I love loving individuals. Uh, and I love grateful individuals. I love positive individuals. Uh, and that's the thing it started with as well to continue to make me come back as well. Because before I came to prison, and I'm gonna say this probably on the next time or whatnot, because it's very important for the viewers to see it. But well, I'm gonna say it now. Uh, uh, I had to educate myself in prison pretty much or whatnot, which I was educated before I came into prison. But so me saying that is that a lot of things before I became to where that as far as my thinking and me being able just to open my mind and think that when you around caring and genuine individuals as yourself, Miss Terry, it'll keep an individual coming back. That was a trick. You hear me? That was a trick on you, you know what I'm saying, with your kindness and your love and your generosity.
That'll preach.
They kept,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's what it was. That's what it was. And it was positive. It was positive. And then when I seen the love and the kindness and the generosity from you, and it set me down and it opened my ears, and I want to get what I could from your class. Because
Whew.
if I can get it, I'm getting it from you, but it's the class that I'm in that I'm getting it from or whatnot. And God, God truly made a great individual, an amazing individual when He made you, Miss Cherry.
Ah,
He really did.
Brandon, you are too
He
sweet.
really did. He
I
really
really,
Well,
did.
I agree totally. And Terry saved my life. I don't even lie when I say it. She saved my life over and over. So
Mm,
here's Brandon's plan. One, take classes or get help, teachers, people like Terry, people that can help you and teach you and educate you along the way.
right,
Two,
right,
read good books. And this is right from Brandon's plan. He said earlier, this is, I was writing down your wisdom here. Read good books that
right,
help you with your plan. Three,
right,
surround
right.
yourself with good people.
Great
And
people, great
four,
people.
leave the negative behind, and that includes the wrong people. You can
a-
move
Right.
on.
absolutely. And I will say this:
And,
one of the
and
books that Brandon's referring to is the Four Agreements. We've read the Four Agreements.
Mm.
We've read Conversation.
the four agreements, yeah, the four agreements, yeah. So I still got that book in my mother's house right now, though.
There you go.
So do, yeah, I do.
I mean,
Um,
and I mean, the Four Agreements and Conversations with God. There are. Um, we have choices every day. And I will say this, I had a choice every weekend, to go spend 4 hours out at Riverbend. And, it's for me, um, I made friendships and, you know, met, I mean, Brandon, you being one of them, some such amazing, amazing, beautiful people that,
yes, ma'am.
um,
Thank you,
my
Miss
life
Terry.
is better because of it. And I will say this,
Thank you,
and
Miss
this
Terry.
is a shout out to all the gentlemen that have taken the class. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with their ability and choice to change their life. We started out with 24 individuals in our first class. And to date, I believe 13 of those individuals have made parole, anywhere from as early as last year
Mm,
to 5, 6 years, 7 years ago. And I will say
right,
this: not one of those individuals who had had a historic pattern of being incarcerated in and out, in and out, in and out, not one of those gentlemen have re entered the prison system. They have
right,
bought their trucking companies. They've got their
yeah,
semis they're traveling in. They're having grandbabies. They've bought
right,
houses. They've gotten married. They've gotten higher education. These are people just like every other person out there in the world that can say, I can't change my life. It's just too hard. I'm going to call bullshit on that. It is not
Right.
too
I'm gonna call
hard.
bullshit on that. Ooh.
It might be challenging, but you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. We're
And
talking about changing. We're talking about changing patterning in the brain of what we know is normal and what we know is the only life we can have. We're talking about being diligent to see, being brave enough to see something better for ourselves. And then walking that walk every day in the now, taking those steps that lead you to that vision that you have, and every day doing one thing that brings you closer to that vision, and being grateful for the days that you don't feel like you're closer, and being grateful that you feel like you've taken 10 steps in that direction.
Elizabeth says we can change, and that's absolutely true.
We can. We
We
can.
can. We can change.
Right. Right. We can.
Well, that's our show for today. And Brandon, we are so grateful for your time, your honesty, because there's so many people that sit in their own hell, their own personal hell. And like you said, and we've decided that's where we're going to put down roots and say, I can't change. No, we choose not to change. And bad things happen in life, or things turn us a certain way. And let no one's judgment of you, let no one's thing that is negative of you, let none of that determine who you become.
Mm-mm.
You
Just
determine
don't.
who you are.
That's
You
right.
have to, you have to determine who you are as a person and what you want out of life. The challenging thing about it, though, about the whole thing is that when you set forth to walk and not run, uh, it's so much easier to overcome those challenges and the obstacles that set before you. Patience is a virtue. Uh, it's very challenging. Don't get me wrong. It's very challenging. But if you set forth your plan, you choose to walk and not run. Because anywhere you going in the area, you're gonna miss something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my thing was not to miss anything because I knew I couldn't afford to miss nothing. Uh, I knew I could afford to grow from it. I knew I could afford to grow from it and learn from it
Wow.
or whatnot. But that's the blessing. That's the blessing that life has to offer. Choices and decisions that you make.
Mm-hmm.
Choices and decisions.
And if
And
you
and,
pivot in
and
one direction, if the wind comes in one direction and it causes you to pivot in one direction, if you've pivoted in that direction, you can pivot back. We can pivot
you can pay it back.
constantly in life. Like
Mm-hmm.
that, that's
Right,
what it's
right.
about. It's not about succumbing to this is just how it is and this is just who I am. It's about there's something out there that's more for me, and I
Right.
want to step into that version of myself, and I want to live that version of myself. And some days you're going to
Right.
live that version 110%, and other days you're going to live at 10%, but you're still living that version of yourself, because when your head hits the
Right.
pillow, you've got a brand new baby day the very next day to get up and do it
Yes,
all over
man.
again. And if you spend your time
Right.
griping and moaning and groaning about the things you didn't do the day before, then you're not living in the now in this moment. You're not
You're
being
not.
impeccable with your word. I mean, all of that. Don't get me
You're not.
started on the four agreements.
Right. 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 Don't let you get started with the full agreement. Right.
Well, Brandon,
Yeah. Let me
we
say that.
appreciate what's that?
Let me say that. The full agreement. The full agreement though is something that needs to be heard as well. Uh. Uh. It really is or whatnot for the individuals that don't know what it is. Matter of fact, when I get to the house, I'm gonna go back and reread it again as well, right? And see what I'm
There
saying.
you go. There you go.
For
I
real.
knew I'd
For
need to throw those
real.
four agreements behind us. I got him in the
Exactly.
background there. So anyway, the
And
four
thank
agreements
y'all. Yeah, yeah, you
is
do.
all so good. Y'all, Elizabeth shares with us. Thank you today, Brandon. Elizabeth says, thank you for sharing your story and your heart with us.
You welcome. You
And,
welcome. Yeah, welcome.
and that's been everybody's been saying that. They've just all been all up in it going, Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. And you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
made a difference in this day for all of us. And
Yes, ma'am.
we're very grateful for you and Faith Open
Thank you. I'm
Experience.
grateful for y'all as well. I'm grateful for y'all as well. I'm very
And
grateful.
Absolutely.
everything we've said today, if anybody suffers from addiction, same answer for that too. You know, even if you mess up, even if you've been to rehab 25 times, maybe the 26th is what you need. So
Hmm.
you can make
Maybe
that
26 is
choice,
what you need. Right, right,
you know,
right,
because, you know, there is nothing that says this is the way I must be. As long as we
right.
wake up with our new baby day, we've still got a new baby day to change.
Right.
So,
Let's see,
Right.
got nobody better change.
Hmm.
Life is too short. Life is too short to want pity from anybody. Life is too short. I was telling my mother last night on the comment that if you can live to be 80 years old and a person can die at 30 years old. Uh, Life is still short either way you look at it.
Hmm.
From him and she died at 30 or him and she died at 80. Life is that short, still short. And we got to make the best of it. We got to, and you want to leave some kind of impact on on someone, on life
mhm.
itself. You know, that's the most important
Well,
thing or whatnot.
I will say this before I close out this show today. I will say this, Brandon, you have left an imprint on my heart.
Man, you have left one on my too, Miss Terry.
And
I love
I
you.
I love you.
You're an amazing individual. Uh, Man, I look forward when we do talk, we do come in on each other posts, we do text one another. It's a blessing, Miss Terry. You are very kind, very strong, very loving, caring woman, and I love it. In anybody in an individual that can give you that give a person that love and care that they may need. Being in the situation that I was in, I was at my lowest, and to be loved not only from by your family at your lowest, by a total stranger is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. Strangers became friends now.
That's right.
We was once strangers, now that we done became friends now.
That's
And
right.
I enjoy
Show
hearing
me your
from you.
friends, I'll show you your future.
Right,
Mm.
right. There it is, right there. There it is, right
And
there.
Devon is the same way. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's we would love to have you back on here again if
I love to be
if you
back
want
on
to
here.
come
I
back
would
and
love to
share
be
it with
back.
us.
I would love to be back. I would love to be back.
Brandon,
I'm
you're
in
amazing. Angie is
thank
also
you.
thanking us. Angie's, thank you for sharing your story. Have a great
Devin,
day.
Miss Devin, you a great individual as well. I thank you for allowing me to talk to you, to come on your show. Uh, I'm very grateful and appreciative of the opportunity given from you. So thank you
Well,
again.
we
I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing year. You know, I know we're gonna talk again, but I'm just speaking out from my heart right now. That's it.
well, I will
Thank
make
you.
sure that we get you tagged in this, Brandon, so you can share this with whoever you want to share it with as well. Because I know your mama's going to want to see it.
Yes, she is. I
You know.
screenshotted it right. I
All
screenshotted it
right.
and showed it to her. And
All
she was
right.
happy. Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
all
Miss
right.
Terry. Thank you so
Thank you
You're
for
much.
taking
welcome.
time away from your job for us. I know that time is precious when you're on the road. So
Oh
much.
yeah, my load don't drop till later on tonight. I'm actually finna as soon as soon as I get off the phone, I'm gonna go ahead and leave out now. I ain't got nothing like 4 hours to get to where I'm going. I'm currently in Arkansas, but I got to be in Oklahoma, so I ain't nothing like 4 hours away.
All
I'm
right.
just
Well,
glad
you
I
be
got up this morning. And I received a text from you, Miss Terry, because I be losing track of the time in the day because I'm out here just working or whatnot. So thank you.
Look, it takes a
absolutely.
village for us. She has to remind me all the time because I'll be here drinking coffee going, oh, I didn't send her the link.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
I love both of y'all, and I
I
love
love you too. I love you, Devin. I love both of you as well.
and our listeners. We
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
thank y'all for sharing your time and your energy with us, and choosing to spend your time with us. And if you catch us live, great. Leave us comments if you want to hear about a show. We'll do that for you. If you're watching us on the tail end of it, when we come back
Mhm,
around, whenever you're watching it, hashtag replay on it.
mhm.
Brandon,
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna make sure we
Candy.
get you. Yes, Candy,
Hey,
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
I'm going to make sure we got you tagged in this, Brandon, so you can share it. And I'm going to wrap this up and put a bow on it by saying what I say every week. as you go through your days, make sure that you take time to make those intentional moments that turn into memorable days. And when you lay your head down on the pillow, know that you've got your brand new baby day coming around the corner, and just have gratitude. And until we see you next Wednesday, increase your peace. And we'll see y'all.
Increase your peace. Thank y'all so much.
Bye
Thank
bye.
y'all.